Chapter 2. Alone, but seen. Later on that evening, entirely dismissing the coffee shop guy from his mind, he was about to start his workout at the boat club gym. It was a small club, probably around 100 years old, and was situated on a quiet part of the river just east of Richmond, close to Chiswick Bridge. Not exactly the most homoerotic of locales, typically being a place where sport is placed on a pedestal above typical gay culture. This was actually liberating to Freddy, as it meant he could focus on being a human being first, instead of constantly being reminded of his sexuality. He arrived at the club and walked up to the upper level of the changing rooms. They were damp smelling, had the smell of mud and silt permeating through them. Not exactly the typical locker room you'd find in porn movies. Perfectly clean, sauna in the corner, and luxe interior. No, this boat club gym was older than most countries, had peeling paint and a damp rising smell coming from somewhere. This was not a scene in a porn movie. It was a real-life changing room where real, actual athletes got changed. He caught himself and stopped pondering these weird details. His mind was laser-focused on the training session ahead, and shouldn't be thinking of that cute guy from earlier, or things related to porn movie production. He was alone in the boat club changing room, as he had decided to work out a little earlier, so as to avoid the main men's squad. He was tired and didn't want to skip training entirely, so decided it was better to work out alone than with the rest of the guys. That way he could work less hard and not overtrain. A difficult decision to make, but herd mentality wasn't really his thing. Overtraining caused injury and impeded progress. He dumped his Longchamp tote down onto the bench and paused for a second, stretching his muscled arms up into the air either side of him and yawning while stretching slightly. He then breathed out and reached for the neck of his light t-shirt and removed it. It was hard to remove, especially as he was slightly sweaty from the cycle over to the club from Richmond, a short 10-minute cycle, but swift enough that he had begun to sweat profusely. His body was cold, with a shimmer of sweat adorning his abs, large pecs, and V-line. His lower back, too, was a little sweaty. He knew some guys who would love to lick that up, he thought coyly to himself. He smiled at this thought, remembering some of the sweatier fucking sessions he'd had in the past. Just as he was about to lower his booty shorts past the bulge of his white briefs, he heard footsteps. Oh God, a bloody master's rower. Typical. They're always around as soon as I remove any clothing. Worst timing, he mumbled to himself. It wasn't that he was worried about them seeing him semi-naked. It was simply that they just talked too much and offered useless advice. He just wanted to get on with his workout and leave. That was all. As the band of his booty shorts brushed his package and pronounced bulge, he saw a flash of blonde hair and those same hazel-coloured eyes from that café. By now, the shorts were around his ankles, meaning he was standing literally in his white socks and pair of white briefs. Literally the worst thing possible. Hey, he casually muttered as the blonde guy put his bag down, fairly close to where he was standing. He stopped worrying about being in his white briefs for a second and decided he ought to make an effort to talk. After all, it wasn't that rare to see other rowers around this part of London. He decided it would be less awkward if he chatted and maybe got to know the guy. Chances are this guy might end up in the same boat as him in future, he thought. Oh, hey, you're Freddy, right? I think I saw you earlier. Didn't know you rode here, he inquired, with a soft West London accent belying his origin, which was probably Buckinghamshire or Hertfordshire. It was hard to tell. His eyes fixed on Freddy's at the moment, and, fortunately, didn't look down at his semi-naked body or package. Yeah, Freddy, no worries. He chuckled softly to communicate that he was relaxed and that the situation wasn't awkward. Yeah, I've been going here like 2 years. You're on the development team, I assume. As the guy started to answer, he reached into his bag for his training gear. As he did, the bottle of Chanel Bleu perfume peeked through, thus confirming to Freddy that he was definitely the same person. Yeah, started rowing, a few weeks ago. I don't know many guys here. Nice to meet you. I'm Andrew, or Andy for short. Freddy noticed a mischievous look in his face as he glanced down at Freddy's lack of clothing. He'd paused for a few seconds while they chatted, not putting on his training gear yet as he'd have to remove his underwear. He hated getting naked in front of other crewmates, especially if he wasn't sure whether he had a better or worse body than them, or a larger or smaller cock and balls. These things mattered to him. Andy started removing his clothes, ripping his t-shirt off and revealing tattoos, and an incredibly large scar on his left oblique. "Mate, nice tattoos," Freddy said to him, as they both stood there in their underwear, both obviously trying to ignore the flicker of lust which was slowly building up inside of them. It wasn't obvious, but it was tantalizing and slowly becoming more visceral. He chuckled. "Oh yeah, haha. I got them to try and cover up the scar. Got it a few years ago while I was biking. Bit hard to explain, but I got driven off the road while cycling through Richmond Park. It hurt a lot, so I got some tattoos to cover it all up." He lifted his arms, revealing his hairy armpit, and also revealing more of the scar in his oblique. Freddy couldn't stop himself from looking right at those muscled arms. He felt his package growing bigger as he got a semi-hard-on. He instinctively reached down to his package and touched himself right in front of Andy, trying to make it look as if he was simply rearranging his junk. It backfired. He got harder and his balls were slowly feeling bigger. He was fairly certain Andy noticed at that point. "Looks good though. Must have hurt. Love the tattoos," he answered, slightly more shy after accidentally touching himself in front of him. This wasn't the place for flirting, or for attempting to ascertain whether someone was gay, nor was it a place to try to hook up with anyone, especially an athlete from the development squad. He pushed all of these thoughts from his mind and focused on getting changed. The two of them continued to get changed without saying much more. The silence wasn't awkward, it was probably quiet due to the fact that neither of them knew what to say to each other. As they were presently at the boat club, it was an unspoken agreement to focus on training instead. After all, that's why they were there. Freddy put his training gear on and wished Andy a good training session. Being laser-focused was more important than trying to get someone's number or hit on them. He had a hard training session ahead, and had to try to have a constructive workout to help build some volume up for the regatta season ahead. He didn't have time to mentally wank off over cute, blonde boys.